And what I'm about to share is the root cause of all of your problems. And that is the stories that you add to events. And then those stories you carry in your mind and in your body for years, sometimes decades, for the remainder of your life.
Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, Fearless Freedom Tribe. This is Dr. G, and we are back for another week of amazing discussions about facing fear and emerging victoriously. Today, we have Adrian Moreno, and Adrian's going to tell you all about himself and what he is up to. Take it away, Adrian.
Yeah. So, when you become an entrepreneur and you get in, well, really, when you get into anything that makes you grow, you start winning, you start getting some momentum, you start seeing some success, and then things are going really great. But then all of a sudden, it's like you're in an air balloon that's being weighed down by sandbags. And when you just start catching all that flight, all of a sudden, you just get hit with all this doubt, all this insecurity, all this imposter syndrome, all of these fears that literally keep you from being free and keep you from being able to, what I like to say, become successful without going emotionally bankrupt. We have these things that become like a ceiling. What I specifically do is I go in and I remove that for people so they can get to where they're going a lot more easier. I just get rid of the sandbags, or I like to say, everybody drives a Ferrari. Some people just have the e-brake on. I just go help them pull the e-brake off so they can get to where they're going a lot faster with a lot more smooth and a lot more joy along the way. So that's a very quick elevator pitch to what I am, like a big like an overview into like what I really do for my clients.
Okay. And so, we love a backstory here, like, because obviously, you're at that point right now, but how did you get there? Like what kinds of things, what kind of fears did you have to face in order for you to get onto this path?
Absolutely. So, when I was 18 years old, I was 100 pounds heavier than I am now, 19 years old, actually. And so I lost 91 pounds in a 9-month time span. And that really happened after, I had this 6-pack in high school, then I went through this heartbreak and then started gaining all this weight because I didn't really care about life or whatever. And then finally one day a good friend called me out. He just said, Adrian, very bluntly, he just said, Adrian, you're really fat. Like, he just really directly called me out, and he was like, you have to do something about this. And a really just best friend, and I was like, all right, man, that hurt for some reason. I'm like, everybody's been poking fun at my weight, but that just hurt. And so it hurt enough for me to get up and get moving. Fast forward 9 months, I lost 91 pounds, right? And that's just the typical stuff, right? Eat right, move a little bit more. And I was doing that. And along that journey, I discovered I have a really good knack for transferring a skill over to somebody else. I was like, I'm really good at teaching people how to do this for themselves, and how to get in shape on their own, how to do all of that, because to know things is one thing, but to teach is a whole nother kind of art in itself. And I was like, well, I'm pretty good at this. So I don't really want to work a regular job. Let's see what this whole entrepreneur, let's see what this whole entrepreneur thing's about. So this is where the fears start coming up, right? I get into becoming an entrepreneur. I Google, how do you become a personal trainer? And then I start doing everything it says. And within 4 months, I opened up my personal training business. And I ended up hiring a mentor right out of the gate. I just heard, it makes a lot of sense to hire people who've already done the things.
Absolutely.
So,
it gets you there faster.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. So I was like, well, I'm either going to go into college student debt for like, 60 to 100 grand, or I can just go $10,000 into debt and hire a mentor who can directly come into my business and help me out, as opposed to like going in like a college route or trying to figure things out on my own. So I just charged it to a couple of credit cards. I went into this mastermind and I was able to build a $500,000 fitness business within about 18 months.
Awesome.
So it ended up working pretty well, right?
Yeah. I would say so.
Yep. But at the time, I started making all this money. And then all of a sudden, I was so scared of losing it all. Like, I was just like, at first, I felt like I didn't even deserve to make money. And then I started making all this money. And then I felt like I didn't even deserve to keep it. So I started having this fear, this really deep insecurity where like, watch out, something's about to happen. Something is about to happen. And then sure enough, I started losing a lot of clients and I started losing money and making I lost like $20,000 in like 2 minutes by making a very stupid decision. Like, I just started making dumb decisions. I started losing a lot of money and not growing anymore. And then I was like, what the heck is going on? And at the same time, while I'm going through this deep emotional crap, at the same time, I started getting really interested in human behavior. And what started intriguing me was, so for an example, let's say I have two clients, client A, client B, each paying me. So I was always high ticket. So I was like $5,000 for like 90 days of coaching. It was really expensive, but you would think
that's actually not expensive, but yeah.
Right. And so it's subjective. I have had person A pay me $5,000 and they would change their entire life. And then I'd have person B pay me $5,000 and then throw this big old book of excuses at me as to why they could not do the things I told them that why they couldn't do the exercise, do the things they needed to do to get what they wanted to get.
Right.
And so I was so interested as why human beings didn't do what they said they would do, but not just that, why would human beings consciously prevent themselves from getting what they want? And so I just started getting really intrigued in why do humans do what they do? At the same time, I wanted to figure out why I felt the way I felt. I was like, why do I feel though? I'm so scared. I'm waking up with anxiety all of a sudden. Why do I feel this way? At the same time, why do people do what they do? Yeah. So I just started getting really interested in the space of human behavior. And then one day it hit me. I'm sitting down at a party, family party. I'm looking at my cousin who was on a weight loss journey at the time. And she was sitting there having a real life, like life or death decision style moment. She was like, she had this piece of pie and then this orange or apple or something. She was deciding whether or not to eat the pie, whether to eat the pie or whether to eat the fruit. And so I seen her and she was like quiet to herself. Like you can see it in her face.
Yeah, the angst.
Exactly. I'm sitting there looking at her. I'm not judging her, but I'm just so curious at what's about to happen. She puts the pie down and picks up the fruit.
Nice.
And in my mind, I said, what just happened? What just happened? Because something in her psyche caused her to make that decision as opposed to the other one.
Right.
What was it that caused that? Because if I can figure out the mechanisms of the actual brain, what's actually going on in her mind when she does that, then not only can I manipulate people's behavior to help them get what they want, but I can manipulate my brain so I can be who I want to be, do what I want to do, and feel a whole lot better and have the impact I want to have.
Sure.
And so all of a sudden, I get so intrigued with manipulating human behavior, positive manipulation, which just means to control it in a skillful manner. And so I get really obsessed with this. And I just first thing I YouTube was neuroscience, because the only thing I knew about was Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I was like, this may get me somewhere. So I YouTubed the word neuroscience. I spent a whole evening learning about neurons and how they work in your brain. And I was watching videos that were like neurons for kids, like learning how to teach kids how neurons work, because I just wanted to do really simple understanding.
Yes, get the basics.
Exactly. And then I just learned that, oh, snap, if you want to change somebody's life or your life, rewire the way your neurons are set up, because you can't create new neurons, but you can reorganize your neurons to start firing differently. And so then I become obsessed with learning how to help people fire their neurons. And then I started studying cognitive. And by the way, very transparent. No, I'm not a licensed therapist. I did not go to school for any of this. YouTube and Google University and experience and university is what I used. I started studying cognitive behavior therapy, NLP, and I went super deep into hypnosis. And then I learned all of these tools, started guinea pigging some clients, and like, will you be open to helping? Like, I know you have a drinking problem. You want me to help you stop drinking? Let's try this stuff. And before you knew it, it was like within 1 or 2 sessions, people were stopped drinking. They were getting their sex life back. They were like, crazy things were happening. And that's the super long answer to your very short question, asking how I actually got into this space. But what I would say is one of the biggest fears I had to overcome was the imposter syndrome thing of like, who am I to be changing people's brain? Who am I to be doing all of this stuff? I'm not an expert in this stuff. I don't have a background in this. And I started having all of these thoughts come up, but then it hit me. I was like, well, actually, the fact that I'm not an expert is actually my it's my asset, because I'm not an expert, which means I don't think like other experts, because experts are tied into this really boxed in way of thinking, because experts know what's possible and what's not possible. Somebody who's not an expert has zero idea of what's possible and what's not possible. So we throw everything at the wall, hoping something sticks. So I said, look, I am naive as hell in this space. That's why I'm going to win, because I don't have preconceived ideas of what a human being can or can't do. I genuinely believe a human being can change fast. So let me approach it this way. And then before you knew it, we started getting the results to show it. So that was a big fear I had to overcome, but it just came with that little reframe of, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's actually why I'm ahead of the game, because somebody who does know what they're doing, they're not going to do the things. They're not going to make the attempts that I'm about to make. All right.
No, it makes sense.
To answer your question.
Yeah, that's good. So many things there that I could focus on, but like the thing that I thought was interesting that you said was that you really had a fear of success. And I don't know like what your money mindset was before you started making money. So because that is a huge deal for people. So if people's like, they don't have like a healthy mindset around money and understand that like it's okay to have a lot of money, that it's money is like a tool, right? It's just something that gives you options. And so if you feel like you don't deserve it, then what will happen is it'll get taken away from you, which is what happened to you. And it wasn't that you set out to make decisions like that. It was that deep down, like whatever your mindset was around money, like you felt as though you didn't deserve to have an abundance of it. Right. So if you have an abundance mindset surrounding money and understand like its function as a tool, then, you will continue to function in abundance and you will continue to have more and more money to steward. Right. And you will continue to be able to make more and more impact around you. But the moment you're like, oh my gosh, no, I don't deserve to have this, then immediately it will be gone. It will be taken away. It's a funny thing. And people, I never used to believe that until I started really working and focusing on my own money mindset and my attitude towards it. And, appreciating even finding a penny on the ground and understanding that that's abundance. Finding a penny is a gift to you. And what you do with that, is your gift to the world. Like, so it's just, it's just having that. And it sounds like once you like started digging into how is it that we make these decisions about, what we do and the things that affect our lives, which kind of goes back to the money thing, right? Because now you found a way in which you can actually help people to be effective, because you mentioned that you had clients that, would actually get to the goal. And then you had these other clients who would just pay you and they would never get to the goal. They would have, would let their fear and the excuses kind of get in the way, like block them from their greatness, which is a very, very common thing that happens to people. And, it's really crucial that you're able to get to that next level with your clients now with, all the work that you've done and, the research that you've done, because that is, a coach's goal. I'm sure this is probably your goal too. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like, a coach's goal is always for the client to get to their goal.
Exactly.
Right? For them to have the change, because that's the whole point of a coach. You get a coach so that you can get from point A to point B more efficiently, right? I mean, and you have checks and balances, right? You have somebody who is going to hold you accountable and who is going to maybe give you the real view, like your best friend did. Your best friend was like, yo, man, you got 90 extra pounds. Like, what the heck is going on? Like, let's do something about this. You know what I mean? The person who is going to give you the real goods and not gonna sugarcoat things. That's what a coach does. And so for you, I could see why there was angst, right? Because you're like, I have these people over here who are, getting a results, getting the intended, like going through the pathway, getting the intended result. And then I have these other people over here who are like giving me their money and that just like not like they're just like blocking their greatness. Like, why?
Yeah, and that feels bad as somebody who takes the money.
But yeah, I mean, that you will, because that's like your job and your passion is to help people to get there.
Exactly.
to point B. And so it's pretty awesome that you had an epiphany the way that you did. And I don't know what your cousin's doing now, like what she's living her best life. I mean, I hope so. But I mean, she like completely like impacted your whole jam.
And I never shared that directly with her. Like I never said, because of what you did that day, I'm like all into this mindset stuff. But one of the things I want to hit on really quick is sometimes let's talk about this money thing real quick, because I know money's important to a lot of your listeners, right? And it should be, right? If you're in this space.
Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way, from sign up to launching your show, with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available if you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us, then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. Let's get back to the show.
One of the things is a lot of times your money beliefs or your money problems have nothing to do with money. They actually have everything to do with how you feel about yourself and whether or not you feel safe. So you said something, you said you felt like you didn't deserve the money. It sounded like you just kind of pissed it all away, which is very true. But was it that I didn't deserve the, like for me, I was like, okay, let's figure out where this is coming from, because this is what really also, remember, it was my clients who were like making me really get interested, and also my personal life just being so anxious all the time and like, what the heck? So after I learned what I learned, I used neuro remapping, which is a process I created. I took myself into this trance, and it's like I'll share a little bit more about that. But anyways, I took myself into a theta brain state. So we all have beta, alpha, theta, delta, and then gamma, right? Mm-hmm. We have all these different brain waves. When you're in theta, you can communicate with your unconscious mind like very clearly. So for me, there's a process I use, and I actually have a gift I'll share with your audience. There's a process I use to get into theta. Once I'm in theta, I give myself certain cues. I'm like, subconscious mind, I want you to tell me why I'm so scared of money. I want you to tell me why I'm losing all this money. And the way that the mind communicates is it communicates through images. And so the image that typically comes up is a memory. And so for me, when I got deep into finding the root cause behind my pattern of making a lot of money and losing it, I went back to a memory where I was 4 years old, standing in my grandmother's living room, look directly out of the window, and I can see my dad clear as day, drop to his knees, scream at the top of his lungs, beg my mom not to leave him and not to take me and my brothers away from him. This is all a memory that I went back to, and it was very vivid. when I went back to it, when I was in this state of mind. And so as I saw my dad screaming, yelling, who, by the way, my dad was like Superman at the time in my mind. When I saw that, I decided to make that mean something. And what I'm about to share is the root cause of all of your problems. And that is the stories that you add to events. And then those stories you carry in your mind and in your body for years, sometimes decades, for the remainder of your life. That day, I looked at an event that was happening, right? My mom and my dad, this was the fight that led to their divorce. Like everything happened after this fight.
Okay.
I'm sitting here witnessing them, watching an event. And then in my mind, I said, I am not safe. That I'm not safe became a belief. It became a story that I carried with me. Like a back, I wore it on my body like a tattoo from that point on. I carried it like it was a part of myself. And that's why I grew up wondering why I was so shy, wondering why I was so scared of being myself. Well, no matter what, I tried to be myself. I was like, I can't because I'm not safe. And then I found myself becoming an entrepreneur. And you know, when you become an entrepreneur, it starts bringing some stuff up.
Yes, it does.
Right?
All the personal development that's
all
necessary.
the personal development is like accelerated. And then here I was making all this money and I was feeling not safe. So what did I do? I pissed all that money away because my nervous system did not feel right with it. It wasn't until I went back to that moment. This is a part of neuro remapping. I remapped the memory. I went back to that moment. I sat with that little boy. I let his body feel my arms around him. I was like, dude, you're freaking safe. I'm like, look, you're 25 years old now. You're healthy. You're alive. You got money. Like you're good. And I was able to I was able to show him my life. I was able to communicate. Look, mom and dad splitting up was actually really safe because they were dangerous together. It's great that they're apart now. Like they're best friends now because my mom and dad are great friends today and they have their own spouses. And, and I was able to give him a new memory, a new perspective, which remapped my neurons in my brain. And then right after that, I started having my biggest months and I've never gone back down.
Awesome.
Because I genuinely feel safe in my body, which means I feel safe to go for everything that I want. So it's also very important that you understand what are your beliefs around money for sure, but your beliefs around money stem from your beliefs around yourself. So if you focus on the beliefs you have about yourself, the beliefs about money become very apparent. Like if you believe you're not good enough, then you're going to believe you're not capable of making money. Then you're going to believe that what you have to do is not valuable. Why? Because it comes from the belief that you're not good enough. So focus on the identity, then everything else will change after that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, that deep work is super important. And, it's funny because you kind of somewhat fell into entrepreneurship, but like people who, have had like other careers and then go towards entrepreneurship as their side gig or whatever, they have to do a lot. I would say probably even more intense deep work because you always have when you just do entrepreneurship and you don't have something else that is your fallback, then you are forced to do the deep work immediately. When you are doing it as a side gig and you're developing, it takes longer. And it doesn't force you. Like you're not it's not like eat what you kill kind of situation, or it's not like sink or swim. It's not a situation where you have got to make it work. And so you don't do everything necessary in order to make it work. You kind of do it like as a hobby for a little while. And then when things are maybe starting to look more promising, you might do a little bit of personal development here and there. And then it's not until you completely buy into the belief that you can do it without the cushion of your main gig that you actually start doing the deep work necessary in order for you to have a breakthrough.
Believe that you're safe. Yes, that's another thing. If you don't believe you're safe, you probably won't even go within yourself to do the work. Because a lot of people, they're scared of themselves. Like they're scared to feel their stuff because they grew up believing, like for me, we grew up believing that human beings were by nature, flawed, right? And that was like my religion was like, you're flawed by nature and you have to do these things. That can make people fear their insides,
Sure.
and it's like these kind of beliefs of not being safe. Like safety is everything. If you believe you're safe to leave your job, if you believe you're safe overall, no matter what you do, you're going to go full out because you feel safe enough to do so.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's awesome. So now you got to tell people how they can get in contact with you. And spell it if it's a website, just because, like, when you say it, sometimes people might look up all kinds of things. Not on purpose,
I got you.
But,
well, I actually want to give your listeners a gift, and this will be the best way they can find me, because I'm gonna be in their email. I'm gonna be sending them my socials through email. They can follow me through there. But if you want to actually learn how to rewire your neural pathways with a very unique process and be able to pinpoint specific moments in your life where you may have picked up these heavy beliefs and you want some help changing them, then just go to, I'll say it, then I'll spell it, but go to rewiremythoughts.com/unshakable. That is REWIRTHOUGHTS.com/UNSHAKEABLE. And so y'all go to that. You'll be able to go directly to that, put in your email, and then I'll send you over a video where you're actually able to experience, like what I'm talking about here today.
Okay, that'd be fantastic. Thanks for doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then they be able to link with you and your socials and stuff like that through that.
Yeah, like in my email, because I like to give y'all one place to go to. If I give y'all all these different socials, where are you going to find me, right?
Right.
But whenever I give you that email, like you'll see me in your inbox. It says, hey, connect with me on Twitter, connect with me on Instagram, and then you have all my socials directly in your inbox. And so easiest way for you. Okay.
All right, cool. All right. This has been such a great conversation, Adrian. I know that the tribe has benefited greatly from the pearls that you have dropped. So thank you for all of them. And thanks for sharing your story. We have a tradition on this show, and it's called Fill in the Blanks. Yeah. Are you ready?
Yep. Right, I got them right here. Go ahead.
All right. So the first one is, if I'm fearless, I will.
Do I start and say it?
Yeah. Well, so if I am fearless, if I am fearless, I will.
If I am fearless, I will go for everything that I want.
All right. That's good. And then the next one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
To me, fearless freedom means the ability to feel your entire experience. And no, the ability to feel your entire experience with a smile on your face. That means the bad too, the ugly.
Yeah. Bad and good. I got you. Like, you just roll with it. That's the smile. No, that's great. And then the last one is, my battle cry is.
My battle cry is, I am worthy and deserving of everything that I want.
Awesome. That is fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time out to come on the show. Yeah, no problem. It's always very encouraging to hear from young people who are doing some incredible things. So, that's inspiring to everybody listening, right? So Absolutely. Thank you for your time and, sharing your story and everything.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.